Hey everybody, it's John from aMTBer Products, and it's Sunday morning. It is pouring rain. I don't know if you can even hear it. It's just pouring so hard, so loud in the house with the rain coming down. Um, just real quick, what we have here is the Darkmatter / Uber Clear starter kit. This kit comes with 4 ounces of Uber Clear, 2 ounces of Darkmatter. So you're going to put it on at a rate of 1 to 2. So you're going to do 1 Darkmatter, and the next 2 rides you're going to do the Uber Clear. And it comes with a 1 ounce bottle of chain prep formula to get your chain set up, and it comes with a brush too. I don't have it in that picture, but here it does come with one of the application brushes, and that is the 3-headed brush there. That's customized to help you put the product on the chain, keep your hand out of the way of the chain, and you use it to prep the chain, use it to apply the Darkmatter, use it to apply the Uber Clear, and if you want to wipe it off with a rag after the chain prep, that's all you need to really do. So you'll get, the kit has enough to do 2 to 3 chain preps from the factory grease. If you're converting from your existing lube, you could probably do 4 or 5 bikes with that 1 ounce of chain prep formula. And then you got about 10 to 15 applications of Darkmatter, 25, 30 applications of Uber Clear. So, you're getting about 40, 45 applications for this kit. So if you're doing it once a week, that's about a year, almost a year. And then you have the link right here that shows you how to apply it. So it goes straight to the YouTube channel here, and it goes right to the 10-minute conversion. So this video shows real quickly how to get your chain set up, get your chain super clean with the chain prep formula first, and then you'll put the wax on and you'll be ready to ride in 15-20 minutes. And that's the Uber Clear starter kit, 421s. It's 4 ounces of Uber Clear, 2 ounces Darkmatter, 1 ounce chain prep, and a wax applicator brush. Well, I must say, the lack of things to watch on YouTube this past few days, just it'll go right to all my guitar stuff. There's like hardly anything here about something about wax in the city. Very strange. It's really trying to find stuff for me to watch, and it probably has to do with, this is the week everybody's getting ready for Otter. So the Otter Festival is going on next week. I'm not sure what day it starts, probably Thursday. It usually does 4 days. So I've noticed there's just not much content out there that's bike related that's very interesting right now. So, a lot of people go to Otter, but I was curious to see how big it is right now. And I did Otter in 2019. It was actually the biggest Otter ever. There was something like 75,000 visitors, and the site map back then, I'm looking at this event here, this is like a fraction of what it was in 2019. There's the pond or the lake or whatever you want to call it in the middle there, and it's just here in this entrance. This is like the entrance when you come in over the bridge here. There's the Otter Bridge. You come over and there's all these booths. But back in 2019 when we did it, it was, I want to say it looks like it was about 4 times the size of this. So you had booths all the way around this lake. You had let's see if I could do this. You had booths on this side, all the way down here. It went way into here, and where we were was way over here, down here on the furthest corner from the bridge. We were way down here. It was about 4 times the size. So that's kind of sad to see. The bike industry is really struggling. And if you look at the sponsors, it's just a lot of You know, back in the day, you had all the big names, of course, like Specialized and Trek and things. And like Trek doesn't even have their name on a sponsorship here this time. And on the phone here, it's kind of got them all, you know, Aventon says gold sponsors. Aventon just makes a bunch of commuter e-bikes. Then you have Specialized, Liv, which is, I think Liv is Santa Cruz, right? You have Ford, you have Fox. Never Second is like a supplement. Continental, and then you have bike cases, and I don't know what that is. And then you have the silver sponsors. So right off the bat, you got Bosch, you know, e-bike stuff, SRAM, you know, they're on every bike sold basically with their price points. Then you have the Chinese company X-Lab, which is pretty much a Chinese knocking off the high-end bikes of the road bike scene. And then I've never heard of some of these like Ruby, never heard of them. Then you have Fox Apparel there. So you have Fox Suspension. You have Sierra Nevada, which is a beer company. And then you got Muck Off. Orange Seal, great company. Easy Up makes the tents. And it's the bronze sponsors, Kuat, I've got their rack, great. Park Tool, love it. Garmin, really like Garmin and Garmin Connect over Strava nowadays. Ride Concepts makes the shoes that are like 510s. You know, so you just have like a fraction of the sponsors that used to partake in this. And then here's a quick rundown of the exhibitors. You got One Up, which is the One Up, that's One Up with the number one, which is the bike racks. Not to be confused with the One Up ONE, which makes the bike parts. I got their dropper posts and shifter levers, and what else do I got? I like One Up posts a lot. And I love their pedals. I use their One Up pedals, the metal pedals. Then you have 5Dev, 686, have no idea. 6D helmets, 8 Degree pedal, Abbey bike tools, great, super expensive bike tools. You have Adidas 510, and I gotta say, I've noticed that I like my old 510s much better than the new Adidas 510s, that's for sure. There's a couple, I've got a couple of good new ones from Adidas. I've got their Trail Cross waterproof shoe. Is from Europe. It's a size 14, and those are good, but I'm not happy with some of the other ones I've gotten since they've taken over. They don't seem to have the same side support. So the list of sponsors, or the list of vendors, is pretty big, but you've got a lot of stuff that's not. I mean, I'm just not seeing the list of names that I saw in the past. Just a lot of little stuff. Bosch e-bike systems. Just Bulls bikes. Bulls makes an e-bike that is a pretty decent bike. My friend Pat Kerrigan from Mountain Bike Action Magazine he's had one for quite a while. He likes it. Cachet, I think they make those really cool bike racks, or bike pads. Got the CHP there. Campagnola, boy, I'd love to have a talk with Campagnola about their chains and their chain knowledge. They've been around the longest of the big three that make derailleurs and systems for bikes. Campagnola has been around the longest. They actually invented the derailleur. I'd love to talk with those guys for a while. There's Cannondale, Canyon. So yeah, and I'll just kind of scroll through these as I chit chat here. Got a lot of sort of random stuff, and that's what it is. It's Bike Expo. A lot of new companies trying to get their product out there, which is, we did the same thing. That's why I named my company A Mountain Biker Products, by the way, because the A is at the beginning of the alphabet, puts you at the top of the list. Did that for several reasons. It's 6 letters that make up its own acronym, which makes it highly Googleable. And I am a mountain biker, but if you know Greek, you also know that a means not, and like asymmetrical means not symmetrical. Well, I'm actually not a mountain biker. I'm actually a motocross guy and a BMX guy. And mountain biking was the happy medium in the middle when I got too big for BMX bikes at 6'4", and dirt bikes were just too dangerous. I bought my first set of DMR vault pedals at the Otter show in 2012. I still have them. These are great pedals. If you want some flat pedals that are bulletproof, DMR vaults are probably one of the top ones. I've got several pair of those. The next one I think is really good is Deity, which maybe we passed them. Maybe they're not even here. Deity's right there. They make great pedals too. DT Swiss is there. DVO suspension, that's great. Met those guys on the trail one day. They used to come ride the trail that I helped build, and then one day it got torn down by some running group or somebody in some kind of society group tore down my trail. And we were talking about it, what a bummer it was. We were there one day and the next day it was gone. It happened very quickly. And that would be the Side Action Trail, if you're familiar with it. E13, love their cassettes. Still have them on almost all of my bikes. Don't have them on the road bikes, but I have them on all of my 11-speed bikes. I have their TRS Race and TRS Plus cassettes. I think they're the best cassettes for mountain biking, period. And that would be the 946, which enables you to run a smaller chain ring and less chain, which saves a lot of weight as well, and a mid-cage derailleur. I have an Easy Up tent myself. Easton Cycling, which is associated with Race Face, so they're really good aluminum products. Enduro bearings. Envy. Got 2 free T-shirts from Envy going to these Otter shows. Ergon, I love their seats. So Evoc, great. Extreme Racing Shock. I've never ridden an EXT shock. They look interesting. Fast House, bunch of clothes. All the bros out here wear that stuff. Feedback Sports. I have a couple of their stands. Those are great. I've got 4 of them actually. Fidlock. So there's a lot of stuff here that would interest me to go. It's just, man, it is so expensive to travel these days. Hotels are crazy expensive. Forbidden Bike Company, that's cool. Oh, there's Formula 100. Dirty Chain Loop. Fox Factory Convention, the best stuff in the world as far as I'm concerned. Then there's Fox Racing. They got like Fox Service, Fox Racing, and then Fox Racing Apparel. One is the tail, one is the head. FSA, I've got a lot of their headsets on older bikes. And bottom brackets, I believe. Galfer, I'd love to talk to those guys about their brakes. I've got the brake rotor restore formula in the works. I've talked to a couple artists about doing the labels. That's really the biggest thing for me, is doing artwork. My computers are just too slow to do it now, and I need a new one. Garmin, let's see. Giant is still there, even though their imports are shut down to America. They've laid off hundreds of people. I think a couple of my friends got sort of fired from there. Guerny Spa. I used to use their boots. Garnet. I don't remember how to even say it. Those are the boots. Those are some of my favorite boots when I used to ride moto. I don't know if they still make it or not. Galfer, want to talk to them sometime. I was talking about the brake restore formula when the phone did a little thing on its own. Got Garmin again. Gates Belt Drive. Well, those guys there, they sure could use my Smooth Lube chain prep formula to condition those belts to keep them a little more quiet in the dust. At some point I'll need to talk to them. We already went through Giant, Giro. I love Giro helmets. I don't know how to even say it, if it's Giro or Giro. Gyro. Goodyear. I remember they came out with a bunch of mountain bike tires. They look pretty good. I have not seen them since. That was 2019. Not heard anything about Goodyear bike tires. They look pretty cool. They look pretty heavy though too. Let's see, what else? Anything interesting? Haro. Haro's new mountain bikes look pretty cool. I gotta tell you, they've got two of them out that I thought was pretty neat. Oops, and that's what's the problem. This thing does not navigate well. But yeah, the new Haro mountain bikes look really cool. A couple of reviews out there. They're pretty honest. Hollywood racks. I have one. I gave it away. I don't know if their new designs are any better. They were heavy and they were just steel, and I don't know. Hunt bike wheels. That's one of Michael's sponsors. Now, I just clicked on something and I'm not able to navigate back. It's very strange. There it is. A little arrow down in the corner there. Gets you there. Right there. Hyper bicycles. I've always liked when Cam Zink was riding Hyper. The stuff they made for him was pretty amazing. I held one of their dirt jumper frames back in 2019. I held one of their what would it be called? They had a slope style frame. I was like, wow, I'd love to have one of these in an extra large. And you know, they're known for selling cheap bikes to Walmart, but the stuff they actually make is amazing. And you can't blame them for wanting to do the volume on a low end bike but unfortunately their name is associated with cheap bikes from Walmart, but the stuff they make is actually really incredible. Ibis. Let's see. Industry 9. I've got their wheels on my oops, wrong one. Industry 9. I've got their wheels on my SB 165. They're high engagement hubs. And you know, I gotta say, I don't think high engagement hubs are a good idea on a enduro bike. I think well, this is more of a downhill bike for me. And high engagement hubs are just too much for that type of bike. I wish I had those wheels on my SB 45 trail bike, and the DT Swiss that are on my trail bike, I wish I had them on my SB 165, but one's a 29, one's 27.5, and it's impossible to switch hubs. You know, the Industry 9 spokes are really cool, but I was hoping to find a way to tune down the huge engagement. I forget how many points there are, but it's like hundreds of points in engagement, and it's too much because when you hit, if you have any time, even the smallest amount of kickback at all, when you go to do an impact off a small drop, like a 2-foot drop, when you hear that clunk sound, that's your hub engaging, and I actually call that hub jack. So it's not brake jack, and it's not really even from kickback. What it is the hub engages, and it's sort of like kickback, but it really does just lock out your suspension completely. Jaguar, great cables, lots of Chinese stuff. Lots of stuff for nutrition and hydration and stuff. Cali. We only knew what Cali meant. There's KMC. They're the best chains. I think they're the best chains in the world, guys. Period. I've not used the Wiperman, and I really don't care to. I mean, it's German. It's probably amazing, but the KMC stuff is really good. I know the Wiperman is really next level engineering going on, but the price point on those chains is something that steers me away from even trying them. I just have too many bikes, so to keep, you know, my 7 bikes I ride most of the time. That includes a dirt jumper. It doesn't get that many miles. So it's really 6 bikes. To keep them all with fresh chains is quite expensive. And KMC has got the best chains at the best price point. Interesting enough, the SL chains with the hollow pins, they actually do extra heat treating to those hollow pins to make them stronger than the standard pins. There's Cool Stop. I used to use their brake pads as a BMXer. It's still around. Kona Bicycle is still around. KS USA. I've got a couple of their droppers. I've got them on my older bikes. They were the first 150 millimeter dropper. That's why I have it on my Canfield. And it's still really good after all these years. I like their switch. It's very small. Used to fit in very well with the 2x systems back then. I have my Kawat rack for about 10 years now. Really good rack. Liet. I've got a few Liet products. What are they? I think I've got one of their helmets. Yeah, I do. I have a trail helmet from them. It's actually my favorite helmet. Another Chinese wheel company. I'm not sure who Lolo racks are. There's a new rack out that's really cool. I don't remember the name of them, unfortunately. There's Map Cycling for roadies. Mad Monkey. Magic Shine. Magura. I've had a few Magura brakes. I've not been happy with any of them. They're really tough to bleed, at least the ones I tried. Not to say they've got something new that may be better, but Marin Bikes up north here where mountain biking started in California. Mavic's got some new wheels coming out. They've sort of disappeared for a while. Been around a long time. I had Mavic wheels on all my mountain bikes back in the day, and they've just sort of disappeared. But they have some new wheels that are supposed to be contenders for today's, wide rims. I mean, I never even had a pair of wide rimmed Mavics 30 millimeter. They were all very small back in the day. But they have some current stuff for mountain biking. You might want to check it out. Maxxis tires. I always love going to their booth. Michelin makes some interesting mountain bike tires too. Mondraker. Now their new e-bike looks really, really amazing. If he's one I would consider. Moots, titanium bikes. There's that Mountain Flow bike lube stuff. I don't know. Mr. Falafel. MRP. MRP makes some great stuff. I don't have any MRP shocks or forks, but they look really great. There's Muck-Off with their probably have a giant booth. Looks like it only has one booth. NICA, the Cycling League. Niner bikes, haven't seen those in a long time. I haven't, all the dealers that sold them around here are all gone. All of them are out of business. Night Rider, I still have a couple of their lights. ODI. I think I have ODI grips on half my bikes, and the other ones are the German. I think they're German. What are they? They come on the Yetis. I forgot the name of them. They're really good. Why can't I remember the name of my grips? Because I'm very tired. That's why. Maybe they'll come up. I think it starts with a G. Ollie Pup. Now that's interesting. I think that's the one that got on Shark Tank. I think it was the biggest deal ever. If that's, they've changed the name. My girlfriend told me all about it. Anyway, it's interesting. It's like the biggest deal ever done on Shark Tank. It's interesting that they're here. It's just curious because I think that's it. Of course, there's already a knockoff version of it, and I get the two confused because their names are very similar. That's again, this is like where they came out with the Dark Energy versus my Dark Matter. It's this sort of thing is meant to confuse you, and it even confuses me when I see a soda that I was turned on to. My girlfriend thinks it's great because I don't drink soda for over 25 years, and this stuff is really healthy. But if it's not the one that's been purchased by Coca-Cola, it's the knockoff. So there's already a knockoff out there. It's just crazy. And the names are so similar. It's intentional confusion. That's what they do. Wow, Open Cycle. Now, that's interesting because there's huge controversy about their bike frames. It's like a $200 catalog frame from China, and they sold them for like $3,000. And anyway, they were very cheaply made, and surprised that they are still around. Orange Seal, I think, is probably the best tire sealant in the world for mountain bikes. Now, people complain about it clogging the tips. I use the Endurance formula, which is the stuff that, for me, it lasts about 4 to 6 months on my bikes in Southern California weather during summer. Where if I use Stans or the Orange Seal original formula, it would only last maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks, before it dries out. So their Endurance formula is great for hot weather. And a lot of people complain about it clogs the tips. If you use our chain prep formula and coat the Presta valves with it, take the little brush, put a little bit on there, work it in. You can even pump it through with a shock pump a little bit through the tip. The Orange Seal won't stick to your Schrader valves at all, or your Presta valves. So I've not had a clogged valve in, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 since I discovered that trick with using the product, our product. And you can use the Lube and Schleiden original formula. You can use Smooth Lube 5311, but I use the chain prep primarily. Nothing sticks to that at all, and it's very thin build. It also, interestingly enough, helps it seal up the Presta valve, so you don't get much air leaking past the valve once you've used a little bit of my wax on the valve, and then it helps it not clog was the reason. But it's a secondary function is it helps keep the air in the tire. You get less leaking out the valve itself. Osprey packs. Boy, I'm about due to turn mine in. They have a lifetime warranty on them. Once it gets tattered from use, you just wash it, send it in clean to them, and if they can't repair it, they give you a new one. I've done that once. Was very surprised. When you're riding every day, your backpacks just get destroyed in the sun. And they want to, you're basically advertising them for free, and they don't want you running around with a tattered pack. And if you're using it every day, lifetime warranty they offer. No other backpacks do that I'm aware of, and I'm ready to turn mine in. Mine's probably about 7 years old now. It's really tattered. And I've got plenty of other ones. Camelbacks. I didn't even notice Camelback was here this year. That's interesting. I'll have to look back. But the Camelbacks, I'm just not happy with them at all. I use the Osprey 99 out of 100 rides. Panasonic e-bike systems. Oh boy. I don't even know what that is. Park Tool. Pearl Izumi, which is Shimano. PD's products. Pickle Juice. Pinarello bikes. Pivot. I'd love to go see the Pivot bikes, that's for sure. I'm a Yeti guy because of where I live, but if I had more of a downhill fire roadie type place to, you know, something a little more downhill more often than climbing, I would be riding a Pivot, that's for sure. Yeah, and I do like the Revel bikes. I think the CBF, whatever it's called, the Canfield suspension on the Revel bikes is probably the best suspension in the world. I do like Polygon bikes. I'd love to see their stuff too. Praxis, Provello, Profile Design. Now, Profile cranks was one of the best BMX cranks back in the day. They made a lot of great stuff back in the BMX days, and it's great to see they're still around. Long time company, been around about 50 years now, I think. Race Face. Got tons of Race Face stuff. Chain rings, cranks, bars, stems. I've got just great Race Face stuff all over my bikes. Lots of tire inflators, bike racks. Renthal, Redshift. Revel Bikes is there, that's good. I met those guys, rode with the owner at a Worldwide Cyclery demo day. Rode with the owner. I forgot Adam, he's super cool. Gave him a bottle of chain lube, he liked it. Rev Grips. I've never used the Rev Grips. I heard they're great, especially for downhill. Let's see. Ritchie Design. If you want the lightest grips ever for your XC bike, the Ritchie foam grips, 8 grams. I think they're 8 grams for the set. Or maybe it's a piece, I don't remember. Not recognizing much of the coffee. Coffee's good. Salsa Cycles. Now, they make some interesting bikes. They really go outside the box. I would like to see what they've got there on display. Schwalbe. Have not ridden the new Schwalbe, what do they call them? Radial tires or whatever they're called. They sound interesting. I've always been a big fan of Schwalbe. The reason I don't use Schwalbe now is because back in the days of 26-inch bikes, Schwalbes were the best. I mean, I did use Maxxis DHF. I used to use them front and rear on my downhill bikes. The DHF was my front and rear downhill bike tire. And I had a trail bike with DHF. I had a wheel set with DHF, and I had a wheel set with Schwalbe, Hans Dampf in the back, and Magic Mary up front was typical. I later switched to a Knobby Nick in the back. The problem was when we went to 29ers and 29er enduro bikes, I could outride the tires. I couldn't keep them on the rim. They were so, I mean, they were great on the 26ers at lower speeds, but once we started doing 40 miles an hour on our 29ers on these same trails, I was outriding those tires. Now, they've come up with some new tires, and I've not tried them yet, but that's why I've been on Maxxis for over 10 years now, because Schwalbe tires didn't have enough sidewall stiffness, and even though I used their, boy, I don't even remember the names. I think they had a Super Gravity, and they had one that was like a downhill sidewall with a trail center. They just didn't hold up like the Maxxis did. I starting to get a lot of flats with them. And so I've been happy with Maxxis ever since. I did like now my SB95 has Schwalbe's on them. It has an old Magic Mary on the front and the other one I said on the rear. And those tires are very comfortable for cruising around. But when you start going real fast, you know, the new ones hopefully have solved that problem. SDG Components got one of their seats and I really like it a lot. Do they make the grips too? I don't remember. Let me see. Well, their website's taking way too long to open. I do have some of their grips, and I like them. And the other grips I like are, well, I can't remember the name of them, and they're up in the rafters, and it's too dark to see the name on the logos there. Cell SMP. That is my favorite road bike seat. I had two of them. They were very expensive, and they got stolen while I was moving out of my old house. I left them in the garage. Came back, they were gone. But the SMP saddle is super comfortable for road biking. If you sit more in an upright position, like on an endurance bike. Smith Optics, I probably have 4 of their goggles. I was wearing them yesterday. Love their goggles. I actually use the ski goggles. I like the ski goggles with the little vent in the top. You pull the vent open and you can get some air in there. They're very expensive. You know, they have a little bit of a ski look to them, but they're very cool. They're not that bad. You really can't tell, but they are ski goggles that I use. Good old Squirt. Gonna be pushing their little crock pot. They'll probably have 20 crock pots on display. Don't get your fingers burned, guys. Stages Cycling. I love their power meters. I think they're probably the best for the money. I'm glad they're still around because I heard they were going out of business a while ago, but looks like they're back. Stands. I don't use stands anymore. I did when Tubeless started. That was really the only thing out there. And then I started making my own for a while. And then Orange Seal came out. And about 10 years ago, I realized there's no reason to make my own anymore. This stuff is so much better. Orange Seal is made from the same ingredients that they actually make condoms with. And if you ever taken the Orange Seal out of your dried out tire, you know. You're like, oh, I know exactly what this is made from. And I think that's really smart. They took the actual liquid formula that they make that product with and just, you know, they probably modified a little bit to last in your tire. But it's so much better than the Stan's latex. Surly Bikes. Didn't we cover them? Oh, maybe not. Wow, interesting. Suron is there. I don't know if that's the same Suron. Let's take a look here. Yeah, well, that's the Suron I thought of. Now, I disagree to that. Yeah, they got their 8,000 watt electric motorcycles that all these kids are out on the trails on them. It's probably one of the reasons my trail got torn down. I was out there working on my trail, just, you know, doing trail maintenance after the rain, fixing the ruts and fixing all the damage from the rain. And about 50 of them came up the hill, shredding my trail that I worked hundreds of hours on. You know, it's not my trail, but you know what I'm saying. It's everybody's trail, but you know, they just a lot of hikers use that trail and a lot of trail runners. And so anyway, these guys took over the area for a while Most of them didn't even have helmets on. And yeah, this is the problem, is that people think this is e-biking. It's not e-biking. It's not even mountain biking at all. And they're at a mountain bike festival. It's just a shame. Wonder what kind of, I mean, people love it. Hey man, that's fine. If you love doing that, that's cool. I just have been riding mountain bikes since I was a kid. And, you know, a lot of stuff has happened for trail advocacy, for mountain bikes to be out there. And, you know, these guys come around these electric 85-pound motorcycles and think they're, you know, they don't think anything of it. There really isn't a place for that product. You can go out to the desert, but if you're going to go out that far to ride it, why don't you just take a real motorcycle? Swagman rack. I actually lost a bike on a Swagman rack. Gone. Swiss Stop. Those were other brake pads I used to use as a kid too, for BMX bikes. Let's see. Lots of stuff I've never... Thule racks. Those are pretty good. Never owned one. All my friends have them. The Tifosi optics are pretty good glasses, guys. Those things they're not cheap, but they're pretty good. Transition bikes. I've always wanted a transition downhill bike. And there's Trek. Troy Lee. I've got a couple Troy Lee helmets. TRP. Always wanted to try. I think it's their brakes. I'm not sure. It says it's from Tektro. Now, Tektro, I've had them on older mountain bikes, and I didn't realize that TRP was Tektro. Well, I don't know what's going on when you click on their web page. Like, there's so many cookies being installed and things, I can't even get to their freaking web page. But Tektro was some pretty decent, you know, V-brakes and stuff back in the day, and lots of nutrition stuff here. But I think the TRP were pretty well praised for a while. I think that's the ones that I never tried them. Usui is a good backpack. I'd love to try it. Seems to be very good for like a downhill type backpack for a day at the bike park on the lift. Much better than a regular backpack. They have something that's very stable. If you want to carry some tools and some food and some things, if you're that guy, I like to carry I like to carry enough stuff at the lifts to where I don't have to walk down the mountain with a broken bike. So I usually have some sort of backpack. I usually have a little enduro pack. I have a Camelback for that, but the Usui is something I'd love to spend $100 and get one. V tires, those are pretty good. Vittoria tires are good too. Well, we're almost through the list here. White Industries. They make some great stuff. I'm not going to bother to try to go to their website. Well, I'll try, but, you know, let's see. Webpage. So many cookies and stuff. Titanium cranks. Yeah, they've got their, oh, I don't know. They're like $1,400 cranks they're making right now. Make some bottom brackets. They make hubs. Yeah, they make some good stuff. They're very not talked about much. Real pricey stuff. So anyway, thought it'd be interesting to... I love going to booths like that, because you're never going to see their products in the bike stores, you know. Williams Racing products. Wolf Tooth, they've always got great stuff. I've got lots of Wolf Tooth tools and parts and shifter. I've got their dropper levers on half my bikes. X-Fusion. I've got a couple X-Fusion shocks. What do I have them on? Oh, I have it on my Canfield 1. I've got their 180 metric shock is still really good. It's amazing. It's got high and low speed compression and all that stuff, and it is very, very good shock. And that's about it. That's about the list there. So there'd be enough there to entice me to go if I could have the time and afford a couple $1,000 to be away for a while. But yeah, it's definitely something I wish I could could go to. Just wanted to check. Yeah, Olin's is going to be there with all their stuff. If you have questions about your Olin stuff. And I don't see the other one up. I don't see that one. That's not there either while I'm here on the 1Os. So anyway, it looks like it's going to be fun. I don't know if there's 4 days worth of stuff to see there. It's a lot smaller than it was when I went to do my booth. And then the years prior, it was even bigger then, like in the early 2010, 13, 15. It looks very small compared to then. I don't think you'd have 4 days of things to see there this time, where back in the past, it was hard to see everything in 4 days. It was hard to really get to everything. So yeah, much smaller, much smaller than it was in previous years. So the bike industry is really struggling. Lots of new companies there trying to get in the scene. Lots of alternative products, just lots of nutrition and other things to support cycling. But a lot of big names are not there. Like Yeti doesn't even have a booth there. A lot of your bike company probably doesn't have a booth there. Pretty crazy. Never thought that would be the case. So anyway, I'm just doing this for my own entertainment as well, and thought I'd just share the experience. Sea Otter is something that I just love being there. It is Disneyland for mountain bikers and road cyclists as well, I would assume. Lots of roadie races there too. But for me, it's definitely the mountain bike stuff that has my interest there. And I didn't see much BMX stuff there. I didn't see Haro's got some stuff, but I didn't see any of the big names in that scene at all this year. I didn't see anything like I don't know if they're even around anymore. But Sunday and Black Market and things like that. I haven't seen anything BMX really related there. Not even what's the name of it? Not even Odyssey was there. And Odyssey's got their new tubes that have like a double fail-safe thing going on with their new stem. And the people are using them right now this weekend on the cobbles. What's that race called? The road bike race. Oh, what's it called? The big one-day event there in France, I guess it is. Can't remember the name of it. It's because it's early. It's not because I'm old. I promise. But the Paris-Roubaix, and so they've got some interesting tubes. And Odyssey is a huge BMX company that's made tubes now that are in Paris-Roubaix. It's a backup, fail-safe type thing. It's sort of like It's sort of like a Schwalbe had a version of it called Procore. And it didn't really take off because I guess there was problems with the valve, but they've fixed the valve. Odyssey has gone to great lengths to, I think the big challenge with Odyssey bikes is spelling their name right. But they've got something new, and it is called, this new thing from Odyssey that's broken into road cycling of all things. They have their 700cc version of it. This is the new Optus tube. And basically, it's a tire insert for your tubeless tire. So you can see the valve there. You can still fill your tubeless tire and this insert tube. So tubes are back. We got away from tubes. And I can see how Paris-Roubaix riders have adopted this. Now, that's crazy. $89 for a tube. That's the BMX, oh, that's the 29-inch aMTBer standard valve. So, you know, really expensive, and it is a tube, and it can be punctured. Hopefully it's able to be repaired. So unfortunately, this is too small for me to read on my phone right now. Hold on. I have to blow it up to read it. It's so small. It's on my phone right now. Looking at this, it's like 4-point font. Okay, it's very small. But what it is this insert sort of does the job of the Pro Core Schwalbe tried to do, and you still can run your bike tubeless. This would be great.
Introducing Optus, a lightweight tire insert that's easy to install and eliminates burping. Your tires are your only points of contact with the ground, and their performance is absolutely fundamental to your control and enjoyment of riding. Your tires have to grip the ground, absorb impact, transmit power, bring you safely to a stop.
Oh, where was I? Yeah, so it's not a lot of BMX stuff there, not a lot of road cycling stuff there like it was in the past. It looks like it's a lot of e-bike stuff and a lot of nutrition, a lot of other things, and that's always the case. But you know, back in the day, there were hundreds of vendors there, and now there's maybe 100 and something. But it's not quite what it is. The bike industry is really suffering. You hear it all the time online now. Companies struggling, going out of business. But hopefully the cycling industry will rebound from this. I don't know how they're going to, because once you get people addicted to e-bikes and motorized bicycles, they're not going back to pedal bikes. And so now it's created its own new industry. I saw this 15 years ago thinking, you know, it's sort of like when I play guitar. If I get a guitar that's too easy to play, I can't play the rest of my guitars anymore. It's too hard. Like picking up an acoustic guitar after playing like an Ibanez Roadstar 550. Just like, ouch, you know? So that's why I force myself to play my guitars, and then I can play anything. But the e-bike thing, I saw that analogy right away. It's like, man, once people get on e-bikes, they're going to not want to go that slow anymore. Because it's pure adrenaline at that point, where regular bikes, it's more of a endorphin rush from the climb. You get the adrenaline on the way down, get a nice balance of both. And now it's just all adrenaline with the e-bikes, you know. And you can argue the point that you get endorphins too, but look, you know, the trails out here, a lot of advocacy went on to get mountain bikes legal on them, and now we've got motorized bikes out there when, you know, signs say no motorized vehicles, and everybody's out there, and they're just kind of turning a blind eye, and now the bikes are getting so fast and powerful. I just see this is going to eventually come to a head, and you know. And then there's also the other part where I don't have anybody to ride with anymore other than two people that I know, and you know, and then trying to get schedules to align to go on. But there's just nobody. There's no big groups of people riding regular bikes anymore. They're all on e-bikes. In fact, what I heard is like all group rides are now e-bike rides. Like it makes everybody levels the playing field, so to speak. And I understand that. but I just don't like riding electric bikes with the noise. I don't, I really don't. To me, it's just a different experience. So I like to do cross-country stuff for daily rides, and I like to do the downhill stuff when I want to get that thrill. And the e-bike's just something totally different. It's heavy. It's just not really for me. And I honestly think that's why the sport's suffering, is because this has become it's a completely different thing. It looks like mountain biking, and it is mountain biking, but it's not the fitness aspect. In fact, what I noticed was all my friends that got e-bikes 5-10 years ago, they've all stopped riding completely now. Like, it basically was a lifestyle change. I'm talking about guys that have been racing since they were 12 years old. They got an e-bike, and within 3 years, they don't even ride anymore. Because what they did was a lifestyle change. They went from, like, basically being a fit, like, athlete, runner type endurance athlete to a guy just riding a motorcycle, And you get a little fitness from it, but there's also all the maintenance and the charging, and the bikes wear out parts quick, and all these things that there's a lot of side things that go on with it that, well, like I said, I've seen a half dozen of my friends stop riding once they got an e-bike, and I couldn't believe it. I predicted it, I saw it happen, and here we are. We got a sport that's barely hanging on. So, the industry, and it's sad. You don't have people out there for the fitness anymore. You have people out there for the thrill. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. And if you're new to the sport and that's what you do, that's great. The sport did this huge change in the last 10 years. And now, with 2020 and all these factors, many factors coming together, the global situation, all the tariffs, everything, it's now really coming to a head where, you've got a sport of mountain biking that's sort of divided into the electric version and the non-electric. And even the non-electric, they're trying to sell you all these electric derailleurs and wireless seat posts, and now they're talking about wireless brakes. I mean, come on. Really? Wireless brakes? I think they have them on Formula One race cars. I think they do. But I'm not sure. And I don't want something like that on my bike. Can you imagine the cheesy made in China stuff having a little wire brake, and now you have no brakes when you're going downhill? No thanks. So the sport is just kind of gone way too far in all these different directions. I think that's why it's suffering, to be honest. I think it's just sort of like innovation is great. How much is too much? I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't want to see it completely get banned from the trails. That's what if they do the power race, keep going. What, do you think they're going to stop now at 130 Newton meters? Come on. More is more.
Remember, less is more. And I always said, how can that be? How can less be more? It's impossible. More is more.
What we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes are going to be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly.
So, it's basically an arms race now, and that's going to be, where is it going to end? So anyway, Sea Otter's got some races. I hope they still have all the downhill races and everything too. It says 14 races, and they got downhill. They've got they have a dual slalom race that I always wanted to do, and I built a bike for it actually. So that's actually why I bought my SB45. I bought my 4.5 with some 27.5 wheels on the side to turn it into a slope style bike. I mean, basically, it's not a slope style, but a dual slalom bike with 27.5 wheels and a super low bottom bracket. Now, I've run my 4.5 with 27.5 wheels, and it is so fun. Could use shorter cranks, but it is a slot car. So they're doing a running race too. And, well, I won't be going this year. Hopefully next year we'll have enough time to prepare for it. And hopefully it'll be bigger. And hopefully the sport will grow by then instead of shrink even further. It looks like it's very small compared to what it was. I mean, it's only on this side of the lagoon now again. Where in past it was, let's see if I can get a picture of 2019. Yeah, so you can see back in 2019, it went all the way around Lagoon, all the way into this lower parking lot, and this year it looks like it's just a fraction of that. I could be wrong, but I know the place pretty well, and it looks very small compared to years past. So, yeah, not quite a quarter of the size, but it looks like it's about half the size. Half the size or so. So the 2009 Otter had 500 registered vendors with 40 e-bike companies back in 2019, okay? And when you Google 2026, it says 600 unique exhibitors, but that's not what the map showed. So I'm not sure how that could be. I'll have to look at it by booths. All right, so now it says over 700 brands. Yeah, well, I'm not talking about how many products, brands and products, how many booths there are. So, well, I could be wrong, but the picture is showing it's a much smaller event. See here in 2019 it said feature over 500 vendors. 1,000 corporate brands, record-breaking year, 200,000 square feet of display space, expanded its footprint by additional 15,000 square feet to accommodate increased demand. 75,000 visitors. And, yeah, let's see what it says here. Well, the good news is there's still the 74,000 attendees. So there was 75,000 the year I went. That's really good to see that. I was concerned for a minute there. And they're charging. It used to be like $50 to get in. Now it's $125. Yeah, so this is this year's. You can see there's a couple of booths on the other side. There's a few booths that go around the lake. But everything south, on this map it'd be south. South of the lake is just not there. So it's just the stuff when you walk in, you go around the lake, and then that's it. And you can see here, back in 2019, that it was considerably larger. So you just have this upper section when you come in, and then it goes around the lake there. So this is a different angle, but it's so the north is to the right. So you just have that first section. You don't have this expanded section down here at all. And you just have basically a very small, much smaller. So it's about half the size of what it was in years past. Well, anyway, this is John, Chain Wax Podcast. This is sort of a vlog covering the Sea Otter event, just like a little precursor to what's going to happen next week. It's probably why there's a lack of stuff to really watch on YouTube right now. I mean, usually I could find 3, 4, 5 things I want to watch that are interesting. I can't find anything for days. So I think everybody's getting ready for this show. It looks like it's going to have a huge turnout. That's great. There's not as many brands there as I would have expected. There are a lot less booths than in years past. But, industry's doing its best to survive right now. In the meantime, try my 5311. This will be your all-purpose everyday lube for every kind of bike there is. And if you got an e-bike, here's your e-bike line. Use the DÄRKMATTER in conjunction with the Uber Clear for best results. E-bikes burn through the DÄRKMATTER in a couple of rides, but if you want to top it off, the Uber Clear is a great way to put back waxes and other particles that are not, let's see, put back the waxes and particles from the DÄRKMATTER without all the dark matter. Okay, so you'll find that you've got maybe enough dark matter in the chain, and the Uber Clear will be a good way to top it off. So it's a system. You can use the dark matter by itself. If you do hardcore e-bike riding, you'll burn through it and just keep adding it. But if you're just casually riding, you might get a buildup of dark matter, and Uber Clear is meant to be a go back and forth between the two, so to speak. So rarely comes up that that's the situation, but if the pedaling isn't quite enough power going through it and you keep adding dark matter, you'll find it's too much. You'll see it squeezing out. And anyway, Uber Clear is designed to work with it. And that's for if you're running that system on your pedal bike. You probably won't run into that situation on an e-bike, but pedal bikes, 5311, chain prep formula to go with it. That's probably all you need. All right, this is John, Chain Wax Podcast, A Mountain Biker Products, aMTBer.com. Please like and subscribe. This is sort of a random Sunday morning video. Check out the rest of our podcast where we talk about details of stuff in the chain lube industry and what's really going on and why you should be using the best chain lube in the world that doesn't use any other extra chemicals that do cause a lot of excess waste and waste of money. Chemicals are not that great for your bike. High pH is good for metal by itself, but once you add carbon to it, little remnants of it, carbon in the chain lubes, all of a sudden you've got this carbonization going on. There's actually another word they use for it. Yeah, it basically causes chemical reactions that could lead to cracked chains and leaking of stainless steels and leaking of chromium from your chain, leaching of these products. It's also a cause of crystallization of the metal, the heating and cooling. There's lots of things that are going on with wax chains that are not, well, we're all going to see it real soon here with these high-powered e-bikes. You're going to see a lot of broken chains this year. So if I didn't release that yet, I will soon in a video. I probably didn't publish it yet. But this is your best all-around formula for anything you need to do. Now, on a regular pedal bike, on gravel, if you're doing a 90-mile ride in sloppy conditions, you might want to supplement a first coat of dark matter. Okay, you might want to do a little dark matter. And then you could use the Uber Clear for super crazy 90-mile gravel rides, okay, in bad conditions, like Unbound and stuff like that. But for your everyday stuff, 5311 will get you through 99% of your rides. All right? And I guarantee it. I've been using this stuff now I've been developing it for about 12 years since I first started. 2014 is when I first started tinkering. And before that, I was doing the crockpot stuff. And I just wanted to put the crockpot stuff in a bottle and not have to deal with all that. And then I also wanted to get rid of all the stripping and everything else. So as a result, came up with chain lubes that flow right out of the bottle onto your chain, no hassle. Rarely need to clean them. Only if you get massive mud, sand, inundation in your chain will you want to rinse it out with some kind of water. You could even use the chain prep formula, work it in like you're prepping the chain, and while it's still wet, you can rinse the chain to draw out any mud that got stuck in there. If you get a grindy chain or anything, you might have something like that going on. Other than that, normal conditions, regular conditions with stream crossings and whatnot, you won't even have to clean your chain ever again. 95% of the time. Okay, so it's just big dirty rides. Well, you need to maybe chain prep it and rinse it, and our chain prep formula is really great for that. You can even just chain prep it and rag it off, but and just cycle the chain till it gets smooth. It'll push everything out, You can add more chain prep to push it out like a Zerk fitting, and then you won't even need to rinse it. I'm hoping that you'll be able to figure it out where you won't ever need to rinse your chain with water ever again. Okay, so that was definitely the longest, rambliest vlog I've ever done, but I know if you're like me, there's nothing to listen to about bikes that's really coming out right now other than just people talking about the same old e-bike stuff. And it's, that's cool. I've listened to them all, and there's not much else. I figure people are getting ready for Otter, and that's why I thought I'd just throw down some of my thoughts and go through the vendor list and see what's interesting there. And if you can get on a plane and go to Otter, I recommend it. It is Disneyland for bikes. It's next week. It's not too late to go. If you haven't gone, it's something you really should. If you love bikes, you should go to Otter at least once in your life. It's really great, and the racing's fun to watch too. All right, guys. Oh, and the hotels in town, very expensive. And they're probably all sold out. So if there's 74,000 people at Otter right now, you're gonna have to get a hotel about 40 miles away to even go. So, all right, check it out. John at the Chain Wax Podcast. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for listening and trying the chain lubes. Really appreciate it. Buy a t-shirt if you can. Links are in the description. Leave a testimonial. Send me an email. Leave a comment on the videos telling me how you like it. Any concerns, any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy your Sunday.